Welcome to the Pardes channel. Today we explain Prophets Isaiah chapter 2 in a clear and simple way, step by step.
We are absolutely thrilled to have you here with us today. This explainer is going to take you on a really focused, step-by-step journey directly through the text itself. We aren't going to rush, and we definitely aren't getting bogged down in abstract theories. Instead, we're going to look closely at the actual words of the prophet Isaiah. We'll ground ourselves in the straightforward, historical meaning of the text, what we call the Peshat. So get comfortable, and let's unlock the profound, timeless messages embedded in this ancient chapter together. Here is our roadmap. We'll start with the context. Explore Isaiah's vision of the future, look at his critique of the present, clarify a few terms, and then extract key ideas before our recap. Section 1. Hook and brief context. To really get what's happening, we first need to figure out exactly where we are in the story based on the opening verse. Looking at the details straight from verse 1, it perfectly sets the stage for us. Who's speaking? Well, it's Isaiah, the son of Amoz. What is this exactly? It's a vision, a direct revelation of truth. And where is it concerning? Judah and Jerusalem. This grounds us right away in the simple historical context. We aren't talking about the whole globe just yet. We're specifically focusing on the southern kingdom of Judah and its capital Jerusalem during a time of immense political and spiritual turbulence. This is Isaiah's direct, urgent message to his own people. Section 2. Vision of the future. Let's move forward and see how this builds into a stunning, idealized picture of the future found in verses 2 and 3. The 1917 JPS Tanakh reads, "And it shall come to pass in the end of days, that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established as the top of the mountains, and all nations shall flow unto it." Listen closely to the visual imagery in those words. It's wild, right? Water naturally flows downwards, but here, Isaiah paints this miraculous, awe-inspiring picture of all nations flowing upwards to the mountain of the Lord. It's like this irresistible magnetic pull toward a unified divine truth that literally defies natural gravity. Let's pause for just a second to define these phrases in plain English so you're absolutely clear on the straightforward meaning of this future setting. End of days simply means a future time of ultimate resolution and global peace. It's basically the final destination of human history. And the mountain of the Lord's house refers to the elevated central focal point of worship and truth, specifically the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. But in this vision, it's way more than just a physical location on a map. It actually becomes the undeniable moral and spiritual high ground for the entire world. And this brilliantly illustrates the sequence of events Isaiah is envisioning here. First, it is established. The mountain is set firmly, like an unshakable foundation of truth. Second, it is exalted, raised above all other hills, meaning it takes priority over literally all other human institutions, governments, or beliefs. And third, gathered. All nations flow unto it. It's this progressive, incredibly beautiful sequence where unwavering truth eventually draws the whole world together in complete unity. Verse 3 continues, "And many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob." Notice the specific action happening here. The nations aren't just passively being pulled along. They are actively communicating and encouraging one another. They're literally saying to their neighbors, "Come on, let us go up." It's a collective, completely willing movement of humanity purposefully seeking out this specific location to learn the ways of the God of Jacob. It represents a total global awakening. And this leads right into verse 4, where God judges among the nations, leading them to beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation will not lift sword against nation. A complete end to war. Verse 5 then concludes this amazing vision by pleading with the house of Jacob to walk in this divine light right now. Section 3, the corrupt present. Now, what's really jarring here is the sudden shift from that perfect future to the tragic, corrupt reality of Isaiah's present in verses 6 through 9. Let's read verse 6. "Thou hast forsaken thy people, the house of Jacob, for they are replenished from the east, and with soothsayers like the Philistines." This highlights the immediate, glaring problem. The people feel forsaken, but actually it's because they have eagerly absorbed foreign, corrupting influences. The very people who are supposed to be that shining beacon of truth on the mountain for the rest of the world have instead imported the broken practices of the surrounding nations. Let's break down the specific issues Isaiah sees here, keeping our steady pace. The land is corrupted by three main things in this verse: practices from the east, soothsayers like the Philistines, and pleasing themselves in the brood of aliens. Instead of relying on their unique covenant with God, they are constantly looking outward. They're adopting superstitious practices, attempting to predict the future, and aligning themselves with foreign customs that completely dilute their spiritual identity.
Isaiah continues his really sharp critique in verses 7 and 8. I've grouped them here so we can clearly see the pattern. Their land also is full of silver and gold. Their land also is full of horses. Their land also is full of idols. Everyone worshipeth the work of his own hands. Look at the overwhelming accumulation happening here. The constant repetition of their land also is full really emphasizes how cluttered, distracted, and suffocated the society has become with wealth, military power, and false gods.
So the crucial point is categorizing exactly what the people are relying on instead of God. On one level, we have material wealth, the endless silver and gold. Next, we have military might, the horses and chariots, which represent physical security and state power. And finally, false worship, the idols. They are trusting in the economy, the military, and objects they literally crafted with their own fingers. It is the ultimate picture of misplaced trust and false security.
We wrap up our walkthrough of this section of the text with the devastating result in verse 9. And man boweth down, and man lowers himself. This right here explains the why. Why is all this wealth and power actually a problem? Because trusting in these worldly things actually degrades and lowers humanity. Think about it. When a human being, created with immense dignity and purpose, bows down to a piece of metal, a bank account, or a military chariot, they inherently lower themselves. False reliance doesn't elevate a society, it crushes it. And this consequence plays out in the rest of the chapter, from verses 10 to 22. Isaiah warns that a day of reckoning is coming, where human pride will be totally shattered. He describes people fleeing into the caves and rocks to hide from the overwhelming majesty of God. The towering cedars, the high mountains, and the fortified walls will all be brought down, proving once and for all that trusting in man, whose breath is just in his nostrils, is entirely worthless.
Section 4. Clarifications and explanations. Before we extract our final lessons, let's just pause and clarify a few of the trickier concepts we just read. We can use this comparison to sharply contrast the two paths presented in the chapter. On one side, we have the God of Jacob. This represents seeking higher divine truth, trusting in an elevated eternal source, exactly like we saw in that future vision of the mountain. On the other side, we have the work of his own hands. This is the tragic reality of the corrupt present, where people desperately seek security in material wealth, military strength, and physical idols. It's a stark, binary choice, divine reliance versus material self-reliance. We also encountered the term soothsayers back in verse 6. To define this plainly, these were individuals who claimed to predict the future or manipulate events through mystical, magical means. In the historical context of Isaiah, this was a strictly forbidden foreign practice. It represented this fundamental desire to control the future and bypass God entirely, seeking magical shortcuts to security rather than just walking faithfully and patiently in their covenant.
And what about that phrase, brood of aliens? To clarify, this refers to foreign influences and imported customs that drew the people away from their core identity. Now, this isn't a statement on immigration, it was entirely about spiritual contamination. The house of Jacob had a highly specific role and a set of laws to follow. By eagerly adopting the religious and cultural practices of the surrounding pagan nations, they were abandoning their unique purpose and drifting really far away from the truth.
Section 5. Key ideas and lessons. Let's translate these historical verses into some practical, simple life lessons for self-improvement. The true beauty of exploring texts like this step by step is that human nature hasn't really changed since Isaiah's time. We can walk through this in 3 clear steps. Step 1, recognize what you actually rely on. Is it wealth, status, or modern-day idols? Step 2, acknowledge that these works of your own hands are incredibly limited. A bank account or a prestigious job title simply cannot offer ultimate, enduring security. Step 3, redirect your focus toward higher, enduring truths. Isaiah's ancient critique acts as a brilliant mirror for us today, helping us evaluate where we place our ultimate priorities. I want to pose this provocative question directly to you to really encourage some active reflection on the simple meaning of verse 8. What works of your own hands are you bowing down to today, instead of looking up to the mountain of the Lord? Are you lowering yourself by placing your ultimate faith in things you can manufacture and control? Or are you allowing yourself to be elevated by seeking a truth far, far higher than yourself? Section 6. Recap and conclusion. Let's briefly recap our journey through this powerful explainer.
We started with the context, Isaiah's specific vision concerning Judah and Jerusalem. We looked at the future, a beautiful sequence of all nations united, flowing upward to the Lord's established mountain, beating swords into plowshares. We then saw the present, a society deeply corrupted by their false reliance on wealth, military might, and idols, ending in the inevitable humbling of the day of the Lord. And finally, the lesson. Rejecting false reliance on the works of our own hands is what truly elevates us. Thank you for learning with us. If this helped you understand the chapter better, like, subscribe, and join us for the next chapter.